What's going on, everybody? My name's Colton, coming at you with the Chalkboard. Gonna hit you with a little bit of a different kind of thing. We're actually gonna be talking about a big inspiration that I have on my life, maybe a couple of them. But always remember, if you like the content that's coming, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and always hit that little bell icon next to it so you can stay notified every time that I come out with another video, every time Riley drops a video of her vlog in which she's finishing up her Goodwill haul for her first Goodwill video today, hopefully, or tomorrow when she gets home. And then we'll be rolling with that. I wanted to talk about influence in life, and my generation especially, I feel, is one of the laziest generations. I might get told I'm wrong, but I do. I feel like we have a lot of advantages to where we don't have to get up and go to the library. We don't have to get up and go do something. We can just pull out our phones and scroll. And, a lot of people, that's great and all. And social media is a great platform to build yourself as a company, a business, or promote yourself. But the thing that you put on Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook, any Twitter, the thing you're putting on there isn't your true self. It's not showing everybody who you are. It's showing everybody what you want them to see. Okay? And a lot of people use it as a way to get over themselves. I don't want to put it in a way like that. A lot of people use it as a way to make themselves feel good because they get 80 likes on a post, or they got 400 likes on a post, or they got 1,000 followers on Instagram, even though they only know or hang out with 10 of them. And that's great and all, but for people to rely on that as a structure for them to build their life, it's a very unhealthy thing. And sometimes I almost wish that I grew up in an era where social media didn't really come forth till I was in my later 20s. But when I was young, when we were all young, anybody that's around my age, you had MySpace. That was huge. If you don't remember MySpace, or you're a little young for MySpace, you might be too old, and you definitely remember MySpace. MySpace was before Facebook. It was what Facebook kind of took over. It was almost the same thing. You have friends on there. It was a little bit less low key. It wasn't as big. Facebook's great for a lot of things, especially with getting in contact with people that you're not around, but it's also bad for a lot of things like fake news, false information, false ideas, and it's also making a lot of today's generation not look stuff up and just believing what they see off the internet, and that goes for a lot of things, and I'm not even talking about politics, so don't even think that. I think it has blinded a lot of younger kids. We got kids these days, which is awesome. That there's these platforms out there like Twitch and stuff to where 13-year-olds could be millionaires if they put the time and effort into it, and they are reading their own book. And from someone who's a big inspiration for me, I just quoted something from him, David Goggins. He is a very intense person. He believes in finding your flaws and admitting them. If you're dumb, say you're dumb. You're dumb. If you're fat, say you're fat. And then strive to be better than that. Strive to be what you want to be. Plan your day how you want to plan it. But make sure there's struggles in there, because you're never going to grow as a human being without suffering, without with sadness, without being in that position of, damn, what do I do from here? And being able to break that barrier in your mind, that psychological barrier, to push through it. Because having motivation, as David always says, comes and goes. But having drive means you'll always be able to push through anything, even if you don't have the motivation to do it. You have the drive to continue to pursue what you want to pursue. The reason I'm talking about this is, I run a YouTube channel, and I want to pursue in my life making content to help people and keep people intrigued, and to maybe get some people through tough times, to maybe make some people smile, to maybe help some people. It's not even to make money or do anything like that. It's to strive and be there for other people, because that's what I like to do. I like to help people when I can. I'm not the smartest. I don't know anything. I'm 22. But I know that. You know what I mean? I know my weaknesses, which are the first things that you need to identify, and that's something that I'm still working on. And I'm not saying that I'm the best. I'm still identifying weaknesses in me. As a kid, my mom and my dad, my brother, Mitch, my cousins, everybody will vouch for this. I was I know-it-all. A huge I know-it-all. I know. You know, your mom tells you so, oh, I know. Your teacher tells, oh, I know. I never shut up and I didn't listen to anybody because I thought I was smarter than I actually was. And until I admitted to myself that, listen, I'm not doing that great in school. I'm not getting good grades. I'm not a top student. Isn't until I actually started pushing myself harder to achieve those goals. So, I could have did a lot better in English. It's not my best subject, but I love writing, right? So instead of, which another real inspirational quote, I never let school get in the way of my education because I'm learning every day. And I think everybody needs to, live by that. Once you get out of school, that doesn't mean stop learning. That doesn't mean stop doing stuff. That doesn't mean stop looking stuff up. With today's generation, you have social media and all that. But you have great platforms to use them for good, like learning how to do stuff, like doing online math tutoring if you weren't good at math, learning how to spell with English teachers off YouTube, just doing basic stuff off YouTube. There's a lot of things that you can do to help get yourself to that point that you want yourself to be at. So, like with me, I started writing short stories about a year ago, and I have several, but I hate them all. And the reason I say that is I actually have a couple I really like, but I don't think they're good enough for anyone else to read because I know my spelling's wrong here and there. I know my punctuations aren't right. I know my sentences. I know there's lead-on sentences or whatever you say. I'm not good at English. That's just it. So through the year that I've been working on short stories is the year that I've been working on English, and I'm going to continue going at it until I get comfortable enough to where I want to start learning another language, which is something I want to do as well. But until I face that negative and look at myself in the mirror and go, well, this is what I suck at. This is what I'm bad at. That I'm never going to get better at it. I'm just going to keep thinking that I'm good enough and I'm never going to strive to be better. At work, I run across stuff all the time that I have trouble spelling. I'm on the computer a lot at work. I work a counter job, a sales job. I need to sound professional. And that's when I really started to see the effects of not paying attention enough at school and fucking around and being a class clown and looking back on it, when you're going through school, you always want to get out of school, right? But then you don't do good enough, and then you end up working this dead end job, working 9 to 5, or 9 to 7 and 7:30 to 5 every other day, like I do. And yeah, I call it a dead end job because I don't see myself going anywhere at it because there's only one more position above me in parts, and that would be parts manager. Okay? And I don't want to work parts my whole life. So that's what I would call a dead-end job. If you're working at anywhere that you don't want to work, that's a dead-end job. You, as a person, you settle with things, and then you become okay with them. And yeah, you complain, oh, I don't want to go to work today, I don't want to do this. But take something that you really love, right? Like art, like being a great artist. I know several people. There's one of mine and Riley's friends named Ashley. She's a real great artist, right? Be amazing, right? If she wanted to say, I'm not saying you do, Ashley, I'm just using you as an example. If she wanted to pursue art as a job, but after high school ended up just settling on some sales gig or something like that, and then never actually pushed herself, because in her brain, she just settled. She didn't push herself through to continue, going with the career path that she wanted to go, okay, in the hypothetical. Then would she ever do that? Sometimes, I think, and I firmly believe this, and I learned it from a big inspiration, like I said, David Goggins. A lot of people go through life, they have kids, they have these wonderful lives and everything, and they pass on, but they never hit their full potential. because they worked that 25, 30 years. They retired at an older age instead of, I'm one of those that I don't believe in working 50-hour weeks every week. If you're trying to build something yourself, you have to. You got to get up at 4 a.m. You got to get out there before anybody else. You got to, if you're a bodybuilder, you got to hit the gym in the morning when it's empty. You got to go do all these things. Even though you might not want to, you have to do it. And that's something, I want to talk about inspiration, because inspiration is big to me. Like, one of David Goggins' big inspirations is the first Rocky movie. And one of the first fighting scenes, Rocky gets knocked out by Apollo, right? And as Rocky's on the ground, you got Nicky in the corner telling Rocky, stay down, just stay down. And Rocky's not even listening to Nicky. He's just, in his brain, he's focused, he's driven, to get up. Apollo's already arms up, right? I won. And he turns around and he sees Rocky standing up. And he just makes this face. Just like, damn. Right? Because he's sitting there thinking, man, I just knocked this animal out. I just fucking knocked Rocky Balboa out. I'm Apollo. But then when Rocky stood back up, it showed how much drive Rocky had. Even in the pain, take Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, right? Big in movies and stuff now. But growing up, his dad, his uncles, they were all in wrestling. And then he got into wrestling. And on his last fight, and I was actually listening to a speech today, he was talking with an interviewer. He was talking about his last fight, his last big main event when he was forming, I think he said Fast and the Furious 6. He said he was fighting John Cena. And about, they sold it out. It was 85,000 people there. And 15 minutes into the show, it's a 45-minute fight. 15 minutes in the show, he gets slammed onto the ground, and him and John Cena are laying there, and he felt something cool in the back of his leg, right? So, and the ref kind of comes up, and he's like, hey, Dwayne, you good? And he's like, yeah, and he said he checked to make sure no bone was extruding or anything. And I was like, you keep going. And, at that moment, he had two choices. He could either say, no, I'm done. 15 minutes into it, let all these people down that were there. Okay, because WWE, it is a show. It's, he's on a team. Him and John Cena, that's a team, right? Even though they're opponents, they're out there to put on a show for all those paying customers, right? And they do take physical injury. Even though it's not UFC, they're not beating the shit out of each other gladiator style. It's a show. And yes, they do have to take injury. Like, he fully tore his muscle off of his fucking leg bone. It was crazy. And he didn't even find that out until after he flew home. He didn't go to the doctors right after. He had the doctors come in. He said John Cena walked in with some legit moonshine. He said it was on some white boy shit. And because they always celebrate with alcohol after the fights. And he said the doctors came in and they did their little thing, but then he went to he flew home and went to the doctors. That's when he found out that he had muscle tore. But he had to drive to keep pushing through. And that's something that I think everybody needs to do. And, like I said, you might not want to go to the gym. You might not want to paint a picture. You might not want to make a podcast. You might not want to do anything. But if you want to build that as a career, as yourself, as even a hobby, as a side thing, whatever you want, right? As you want to build yourself, you need to just strive and push through it. Because if you are driven, you're going to knock through everything. You're going to push it out of the way, and you're going to keep going. Nothing's going to stop you, right? And until you get in that dark room and you really face your inner demons, you're never going to do that. You're going to be okay with just what you have. You're going to be okay with settling. And that's something I don't think anybody should ever do, is be okay with settling. I think you'd always be striving for more, whether you're 50, 60, 70, 20, 10, 30, 35. You can always do a little bit better, and not in anyone else's eyes, in your own eyes. There's always something that you can improve on, whether it be your health, whether it be discipline. Because without discipline, none of this would even be possible. You need to get on a disciplined schedule. and you need to stick to it, and it's hard. And you're not going to do it the first try. You're not going to do it the second try. You're not going to do it the third time. Until you get repetitive discipline, you're never going to hit that mark. And it's going to take a while. Like, you can make a schedule, right? And it sucks, because you're usually putting shit on a schedule you don't want. But you have the power to make that day how you want it. If you don't want to wake up and go to Walmart right away, then don't. You don't have to do that. You know, you are on your time. There are 24 hours in a day, a Walmart trip, a CVS trip, a dog food trip, that is 15, 20 minutes. Do it on your own time. Don't stop your life, don't stop you being happy to do something that you don't want to do. But there's always that time that you have to. So, you know, it's hard to say, and I'm not trying to sit here and say don't ever do anything that you don't want to do, because you have to do it. You have to walk your dogs every now and then. Even if you're not feeling like you want to walk your dogs, you got to do it. You got to play with your dogs, even if that day you're not feeling like playing with your dogs. You got to clean the house. You got to do the dishes. You got to do those things. That's why there's a man out there who at a young age taught me that first thing in the morning, your first goal, what is it? Make your bed. You'll always achieve that goal. Now, whether you want to make your bed or not, you need to make it. Because that's teaching yourself, your mind, discipline. Doing something that you don't want to do is discipline. But you can also discipline yourself on your own terms. And that's something that you need to negotiate with yourself. Everybody has their own book. And until we get out of caring what is in her book or what's in his book and looking inside what's your book that you're writing every day, just like David Goggins always said, it's your book and you're the one writing it. That's it. So change it up. Who's inspirational in your lives? You know, my dad's real inspirational to me. So that's someone that has true passion for something, even if it's dumb to you and me or to Riley or anybody else. He doesn't care what you think. And that's something I find truly fascinating. And I think everybody should feel that way. You shouldn't stop yourself from leaving the house because your hair is not perfect or because your makeup's not done. Because who cares what other people think? And you shouldn't have to, oh, well, I didn't trim up my beard, so I gotta go do that before I go to Walmart. There shouldn't be that. Yeah, you might be saying, well, I'm doing it for myself. I'm doing it for myself. But why are you doing it for yourself? And that's the root of the question, because you're doing it for yourself to feel good, to look good. And how you're doing that is looking and feeling good in front of other people. And that's not what you need to be proving yourself to. You need to prove yourself to the person who's in the mirror. You need to look at that mirror and prove yourself to you. Because once you prove yourself to yourself, you don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care if you hate this fucking podcast. I don't care if you hate my YouTube channel. I don't care if you hate me. Okay? I really can care less what anybody thinks. Because it's not your life that I'm living. This is my life I'm living. If you don't want to watch my stuff, don't watch it. That's just... a person shouldn't waste their time on other people's negative comments. Look at them. Take your constructive criticism and grow. But don't feed off their negative energy. Don't take their negative energy and comment back. That's what you see a lot on like Facebook, and Twitter is good for it too. Debating. People they're so comfortable with throwing facts that they think are facts that aren't factually checked, that don't have links behind them, that don't have someone with a PhD or anything behind them, and they're all just throwing this out there because there's no discipline. There's no, oh, well, he said this and he's wrong, so this guy's going to look dumb. He's going to send that comment, and he's going to not care. That's it. He's going to criticize someone for being gay, and he's not going to care. He's going to say something about you being black, and he's not going to care. Don't feed off that negative energy, because it's always going to be there in the world. Or don't live off that negative energy. Feed off of it. Take that negative energy. Don't respond to it. They don't even deserve a response. If they're sitting there, making fun of you, bullying you, singling you out because you're a minority or a different race from them, or you're poor or you're rich or whatever the case is. Don't let them single you out. Don't let some dude tell you that you need to wash dishes because you're a female, and don't let some woman tell you that you need to mow the lawn because you're the dude. Because everything can be shared no matter what. Those people, for people that have been bullied, my dad was bullied. He talked to me a lot about it. I was never really bullied in school or anything like that. I had an older brother who always picked on me a lot, and I will always say helped carve me out into the person I am today. The person that isn't scared to stand up for myself. It's because of my older brother, because my older brother taught me those lessons. He beat my ass. He was an older brother in both ways. As in don't do this, learn from my mistakes. And he taught me to be tough. He taught me to stand back up when someone knocks me down. Because no matter what you say or anything, I'm going to get back up. I'm going to keep going. You dislike my podcast, I'm going to keep making them. I don't go nowhere on my podcast, I'm going to keep making them. I don't ever get a new job, I'm going to keep looking. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to settle. Find your inspiration, find your niche. That's something that everybody needs. Make sure that you feel like you love yourself. Because that's all that matters, man. And once you love yourself, that's when you can start giving out that love to other people. And if you already do, make sure you told yourself you loved you, or make sure you told someone else that you loved them. And I want you guys to have a good day.